Good morning, and thanks for joining me. You know, when I was younger, I used to think that cars were pretty simple. There were the parts that you could see, like the hood and the trunk and the wheels and the windshield. And then there's the parts inside, the seats and the steering wheel. It's pretty simple. You put gas in the tank, take the key, you turn it on, and boom, the car worked. But as I got older, as I began to own my own car and began to work on my own car, I began to understand how complicated cars were. There weren't just parts, there were systems. The ignition system, the exhaust system, the braking system, the suspension, the electrical. And the funny thing is, it's all important. And sometimes these systems seem to be working in contrast with one another. The motor and the drivetrain, for example, make the car go, and the brakes and the braking systems make it stop. Both are important, and then the steering wheel keeps it all on the road. All three are absolutely essential. And all three of these systems, well, they're made of smaller parts. Many smaller parts, in fact. And if one of these smaller parts aren't working or broken, the whole system won't work. The car won't drive. Now, there are thousands of parts in a car, and all need to work together if that car is to drive down the road. And it works the same way in a church. As Paul would write in 1 Corinthians 12, 5-7, there are differences of ministries, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of activities, but it is the same God who works in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to each one for the profit of all. And a few verses later, Paul would write, "For as the body is one and has many members, but all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ." We are one body with different members, different activities, different shapes, with different functions. And sometimes those functions, just like in a car, may seem to be at constant odds with each other. The motor makes the car go, the brakes make it stop. But what's more interesting in all of this is that in a car, or in a body for that matter, functions are performed in systems, various pieces working together. All working together to perform a specific function, stopping the car or circulating the blood, for example. For the pieces involved in that specific function, they all probably agree that that job or that process is very important, because it is. But sometimes pieces that are working together to perform specific functions can begin to think that their job is the most important. And that's just plain and simple not seeing the whole picture. It's called tunnel vision. Paul called every believer part of the body of Christ. And while Jesus was on earth, as we've been seeing through this study of Luke, his body did certain things. He preached the gospel, that's the word. He healed those who were sick and hurting, attending to their physical needs, that's deed. And he made disciples. Word, deed, while making disciples. Those are three different tasks that Jesus performed on earth before he was crucified and rose again. And those tasks, his body, his church, are still called to do today. Some believers, or even groups of believers, may identify more with one function than another, and that's fine, but let's avoid tunnel vision, because all these functions are important. All are important in being the body of Christ. Have a great day. Ciao.